Have you ever felt like there are invisible strings moving the world around you? That the most important decisions, the ones that shape your life, are made in rooms you'll never be invited to? What if I told you that understanding these dynamics isn't just possible, but crucial for you to avoid being just another piece on this board? In the next few minutes, we're going to dive deep into brutal and honest lessons about power, influence, and the alliances that define winners and losers. Based on chapters 11 to 20 of Power and Manipulation, a modern analysis of Machiavelli's The Prince will uncover how the game is played, and more importantly, how you can stop being just a spectator and start understanding the rules to perhaps turn the game in your favor. Stay with me because what you're about to discover could change the way you see power and yourself forever. Why is it so hard to talk openly about manipulation and the true intentions behind alliances? We live in a culture that often pretends everything is fine, that promotes an image of generosity and peace, while behind the scenes the fight for power is relentless. Machiavelli, 500 years ago, already warned us, understanding how the world really is, not how we wish it were, is the first step to not being swallowed by it. Chapter 11 throws an uncomfortable truth in our faces. When are allies truly beneficial? We think of loyalty, but power often rests on volatile interests. Remember the story of David, who refused Saul's armor to fight with his own weapons. Trusting others too much without building your own strength is like building an empire on quicksand. You become a puppet, even if you wear a crown, and necessity, it moves the world. If you're not indispensable, you'll be discarded. Chapter 12 shows us the centralizing ruler versus one surrounded by other power brokers with their own inheritances. The second, full of barons with their own power, is easier to infiltrate but a hell to control afterward. And popularity, discussed in chapter 13? Seductive popularity. Gaining power through the people's favor seems ideal, right? The difficulty of pleasing everyone without offending some is a minefield. Have you ever stopped to think who really pulls the strings of those you admire? Now let's face the darker side. Chapter 14 doesn't spare us. Power achieved through unjust and corrupt means. Agathocles the Sicilian, who massacred senators and the wealthy to take Syracuse. He gained power but never glory. Power through luck or others' strength? It's like flying to the top but without knowing how to pilot. The fall is almost certain. Imagine someone, let's call him Alex. Alex didn't have exceptional talent, but he had charisma and crucially the support of an influential group. But Alex never learned to build his own defenses, to understand the complexity of alliances. He became dependent, predictable. When circumstances changed, the house of cards collapsed. Alex had no strength of his own to resist. Chapter 17, Competition as the main duty. He who desires power must have no other focus than organization and discipline for competition. Philopoemen, general of the Achaeans, in times of peace, thought about war strategies. We've been conditioned to seek comfort, to avoid wear and tear. But in the game of power, there's no peace for those who want to remain relevant. Changing laws, customs, traditions, it's one of the hardest and most dangerous things. And why do leaders lose their positions? Often due to their own incompetence for not foreseeing storms during calm weather. But the only truly lasting means of defense are those that depend exclusively on you and your value. Machiavelli is direct. Arming your citizens can make them loyal, as they feel benefited and indebted. And those enemies from the beginning of your rule? Often they become the most loyal if they need support to maintain themselves. The power structure defines stability. A centralizing leader with submissive servants is hard to overthrow due to a lack of internal fissures. But if he falls, the whole system collapses with him. Whereas a leader surrounded by barons with their own power is an invitation for internal alliances for anyone wanting to seize power. However, once at the top, these same barons become your rivals. Think about companies, social groups, even families. This dynamic is everywhere. Understanding whether you're dealing with a sultan or a king surrounded by nobles completely changes your strategy. Power from the people or the great ones. Those who rise through the people, if they don't oppress them, generally have their support. Because the people's desire is simple, not to be crushed. But those who rise through the great ones are surrounded by equals who will demand favors and will hardly obey them blindly. And the biggest trap? Trying to satisfy the great ones usually offends the small ones. It's an eternal tug of war. Have you ever found yourself trying to please everyone and losing the support of both? The honesty of popular desire versus the ambition of the powerful. An eternal conflict. Machiavelli's cold analysis of power obtained through crime is unsettling. Agathocles, Oliverato da Fermo, they used cruelty and betrayal. The lesson here is about the economy of cruelty. If used, let it be all at once to secure the position, and then transformed into benefits for the people. Cruelty that drags on, that becomes routine, generates continuous hatred and instability. This isn't an endorsement, but a warning about how power sometimes operates in the shadows. How many leaders we see rise quickly haven't used concentrated offenses to clear their path? The question isn't to justify, but to understand the mechanism so as not to be its victim or worse, blindly repeat it. So, are we doomed to be manipulated or to become manipulators? No. The real turning point, the insight Machiavelli offers us between the lines, is that deeply understanding these dynamics is the first step to transcending them. Remember chapter 15. Power through luck or others' strength is fragile. The solution isn't to seek a godfather, but to build your own foundations, your own strength and virtue. Like David, use your own weapons. And chapter 16 reinforces, depending on others is inviting your own ruin. Independence, self-knowledge and self-sufficiency are your greatest strengths. Chapter 17, on competition, isn't a call to crush others at all costs, but a brutal reminder that passivity is deadly. Competition here can be internal, the struggle to be better, more prepared, more aware. The pain of growth, of facing reality, of striving to understand others' motivations without simplistic judgments, is what sets you free. Stopping seeing the world as good or bad, and starting to see it as a complex of causes and consequences. This gives you clarity, takes you out of the victim role. How to apply this? Be attentive to change and be adaptable. Cheer 18. The world doesn't stop. Those who try to implement change face resistance, but inaction is worse. Learn to read the environment, to understand timing. Don't be afraid to be like the archer who aims high to hit a distant target. Change requires courage and preparation. In times of crisis, don't isolate yourself. Show your strength and calm. Build solid defenses and avoid incompetence. Ch19. The loss of power often comes from one's own incompetence, the inability to see the storm in good weather. Your safest defenses are those that depend on you, your value, your preparation. Don't expect others to save you. Invest in yourself. Know how to measure strength, yours and others. Ch20. How is a leader's strength measured? It's not just about having resources, but about having the people's support, the ability to withstand sieges, to inspire loyalty, and to have provisions. For you, this means know your own strengths and weaknesses. Understand who your true allies are, and who is just waiting for an opportunity. Be authentic, but strategic. And crucially, never underestimate the importance of not being hated or despised. Respect is a more powerful fortress than any wall. Don't be afraid to be bold, but don't confuse boldness with arrogance. What happens when you start applying this ancient yet brutally honest wisdom? You stop reacting and start acting. You cease being a pawn and begin to understand the board. Emotionally, the fear of manipulation lessens because you start to recognize it. The frustration of being outmaneuvered gives way to clarity. You feel less a victim of circumstances and more an agent of your own life. That feeling of being trapped dissipates as you understand the rules of the game. Practically, your decisions become more strategic. You choose your alliances more carefully, invest in your own forces, and learn to compete intelligently, whether at work, in relationships, or in your personal projects. You become more resilient to storms because you learn to prepare in calm weather. And most importantly, you learn that true power isn't about dominating others, but about mastering yourself and understanding human nature without illusions. Machiavelli's lessons, reinterpreted in Power and Manipulation, are not a handbook for tyrants. They are a brutal mirror of reality. They teach us that alliances are fluid, that leadership has many faces, that popularity is a double-edged sword, and that true strength lies in independence, readiness for competition, and the wisdom to implement change and maintain what was gained with value. Ultimately, the greatest power isn't controlling others, but understanding the hidden currents that move the world. So you can navigate them with awareness, not adrift. You can't change the rules of the game overnight, but you can learn to play it masterfully. And you? Have you ever felt like just a piece in a larger game? Which of these lessons provoked you the most or made you see a situation in your life differently? Tell me down in the comments. Your experience is valuable and can help others on this same journey of discovery. If this video made you think, if it sparked a bit of curiosity or healthy indignation, please leave a like. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss future deep dives like this one, and hit that notification bell. And most importantly, share this video with someone who needs to hear this. Someone who might be feeling manipulated, lost, or simply seeking to better understand complex human relationships. Remember, knowledge is power, especially knowledge about the hidden gears that surround us. Until next time.